Good morning, everybody. Father's Day. It is a happy Father's Day to everybody who is a father. I'm talking to our men. Happy Father's Day to you, kind sirs. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share. Invite somebody, share. Tell them we are live. Invite somebody, share. Again, happy Father's Day to all of our fathers. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the importance of a father. There are some interesting statistics on fatherhood. In fact, one scripture suggests, society suggests in their statistics, Time magazine suggests that the reason the world is in chaos is because of a father. It links poverty to the absence of a father. Do me a favor, invite somebody to share. We'll be back right after this. And good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Father's Day to all of the brothers, men. Happy Father's Day to you. So I want to jump right into our topic this morning. The importance of a father. The importance of a father. Abba. We're going to get into what that means, and we're not going to take a long time to do it. Good morning to everybody that's on. Invite somebody, share. Invite somebody, share. So let me open up with these are some interesting statistics. 40% of all families raised by single mothers live below the poverty line, in comparison with 8% of those who are raised by both parents. This is good to me already. Melvin Davies, good to see you, bro. We're planning to have services live in the building this coming December. We'll keep you informed. Yolanda, your Brooks, good morning. Invite somebody to share. Let me go over that again. 40% of all families raised by a single mother lives below the poverty line, compared to 8% of those raised by both parents. There are a lot of social experiments that have happened, taken place, and Time magazine credits that the absence of fathers is linked to social nightmares, childhood pregnancy, boys with gun, crime on all levels. They link all of those to the absence of a father. Now, one of the things that happens in a wicked world is that wicked people have major platforms. So what happens is, if you're going to deceive a nation, the way that you get the nation is through the music. In fact, music is one of the leading causes of the culture, or the leading instrument in any culture. If you listen to the music, you will know exactly where the culture is. And if you can find out where the culture is, you will understand the mindset of the people. So you got to understand that the instrument to control a society always happens first in the music. Now, let's talk about platforms, sociological platforms, economic platforms. What runs the world is not heart, it's not conviction. What runs the world is money. What runs the economy is the economic line of influence. This is real important. You need to know, and I'm going to use this for an example, that the Federal Reserve Bank, that is where America makes money. We get our money. It is the chief exchange in America. The Federal Reserve Bank is not even owned by America. I don't want to get into the history of that, but I offer that or bring that to your attention to let you know, if America does not own her own bank, then whoever owns the bank controls the flow of revenue. They also controls those that are in power. America, as of now, 2021, has never had a woman president. It has always had a male, a man in governing authority. A man has been president from its inception until now. America has always had a man as her leader. She goes into the direction that the man takes her in. No matter who sits in the chief seat, whatever mentality they have is automatically influenced on the people. And we will see a reflection in society based on who's leading the country and the music that controls the culture. So when you had a black man, and I'm not going to praise any president or demonize any president, I'm going to give you facts this morning. When you had a black man by the name of Barack Obama in office, there was a lot of talk of peace, and black people were on the rise. A lot of the things that were put in place by Barack Obama, we're seeing even today, the rise of black people. Why? Because whatever the leader is, the leader represents the head. That's what the body becomes. The body cannot go into the direction that it feels, into the direction that it thinks. The body is controlled by the head, and whoever sits at the head controls the body. So if you want to get the body under control, you've got to inspect the head. There were more peace treaties signed. America talked about peace more when Barack was in office. Now, when Trump became the president of the United States, look at what began to rise in the country. It's not that he created it. It's he resembles it. And the body is a reflection of the thoughts that are inside of the head. Good morning, everybody. Invite somebody, share. I'm going to say that again. The body is a reflection of what happens in the head. So if the head is corrupt, the body begins to deteriorate. Now, when we look at man, let's talk about what a father is. A father comes from the Hebrew word. The Hebrew word for father is Abba, and it means source. It means root. It means provider. It means security. It means protector. It also means comfort. Father means also foundation. So whenever God starts talking about father, fatherhood, fathers, listen at what he says. He begins everything with that man. He begins everything with that man. Listen, the word father, Abba, it means root. A tree is not better than its roots. So a lot of the problems and the plagues that we see in society has nothing to do with the person. It has more to do with the tree that they're from, the root that is in them. Let me give you some other facts. Whether you know your father or not, his DNA is inside of you. Whether you know your father or not, the gender of all children is determined by the father. What's inside of the father determines what that child is going to be, whether they're going to be male or female. It's inside of the father because the father is the root. He is the source. So if the father is the root and the father is the source, then everything that the child needs hinges on the well-being of the father. When we start dealing with root, source, foundation, listen to what God said in the book of Genesis. When God was creating, the Bible says that he stopped creation because he did not have a man. He did not have a manager to till the ground. So the importance of fathers is if there is going to be completion, you have to have a father in your life. I'm going to say that again. If anything is going to be completed in you, Time Magazine accredits destiny to daddies. They say the destiny of a child is determined by its daddy. Now listen to this. Listen to how true this is. When God created the earth, he stopped creation because he did not have a man. He did not have a source in the earth. He did not have a foundation in the earth to manage what he had placed. So management from the Father is so important to God that he stopped creation at its bay. And he says, I'm not going to finish until I find me a father to manage the ground. Anything that God's going to complete in the earth, he does it through the Father. Anything that God's going to build in the earth comes through the Father. Now, there's this school of thought that because the man was not in place, that somehow God began to use the woman. And the reason in today's society women are on the rise is because the man has been out of place. And I want to tell you this morning, and I know I'm going to get some hate mail for this, but it's okay. I've got tough skin. That's a lie. If anything is going to function the way that it was created, it has to follow the manual of the creator. And I don't care how many men are out of place. I don't care how many men are not doing the right thing. God does not change his mind because creation fails. He's not a schizo God who has a plan B. There is no plan B. What he said settles it. What he established, so let it be. So when we're talking about our world is in the chaotic state that it is in because fathers are not in place. So what happens when the father is not in place? Why is the father so important? Well, the father is important again because he is the source. He is the root. He is the provider. He is the security. He is the protector. He is the foundation. So anything that is going to be built cannot be built in the absence of a father. Let me go a little further. Let me show you facts here. You cannot have a child without a father. Creation, as it relates to humanity, cannot carry out its purpose. In other words, nobody would be giving birth if we didn't have fathers. And I know many people say just because you're a man, that doesn't make you a father. Let me help you out. If you have a child, you are a father. Even if you don't obey the commandments of a father, that does not cancel the fact that you are a father. A father has children. Now listen to this. Listen to this. You can also be a father and you don't have biological children. Father-Abba is linked directly to man. And whenever God starts talking about what a father is, he is always describing a man. So when a man is in his rightful place, in position, he becomes a father long before the child is born. See, because we are limited to time, we're governed by time, we need time in order to explain. It's like the old saying, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, if we look at things from its creative point, from the point of creation, God began everything with a man. He began everything with a father. Then he hit the rewind button. God backed up and he placed the children inside of the man. The children were in the man long before the man knew the children were in him. And as a result of that, he was a father long before Eve was created and she gave birth. Because when you deal with things from a creative point, you have to go back to its origin. You have to go back to the beginning. You cannot pick up a book halfway through the book and determine exactly what the source and the foundation is. If you're going to have understanding, you have to go back to the beginning of the book and you've got to read the manual. And the problem with our society is that we don't read the manual. All of us, to some point, we discover facts based on our opinion, and our opinion has nothing to do with facts. If you want to know what a man is, you want to know what a father is, you cannot judge it by how society says it, by how this person says it. You have to judge father by how the creator called what he created. So, a father is the source. He's the root. He's a protector. This is what his name means, provider. He's security and he's foundation. So anything that you think you're going to build is going to be built through a father. A father is the one that establishes the identity and sex agenda of the child. Whatever that child is, its sexual orientation is built on its foundation, which is the father. Now listen to this. 43% of all inmates straight across the board grew up without a father in the home. They're doing social experiments, and one of the facts that they've brought to the table, they said that the link between drug addicts, all crime, sexual immorality, all of those dysfunctional things are linked to the father being absent from the home. So the importance of a father, listen to me, according to these statistics, if you're going to live a life of crime, if you're going to be poor, all of that is linked to the father being absent from the home. So the problem in our society is not the devil. The problem in our society is not the misguided child. Well, you know, these kids, they don't have no respect. These kids on something different. This generation is terrible. You're right. But that's not the problem. That's the fruit of the tree. It's not the root. So we're looking at the results of what happens when the father is not home. So statistics state that if you're going to prosper and be wealthy, you need a father. The statistics attach the link between poverty and crime, it's the absence of a father. Why is this important? Because we've got to, and I understand that this term is used out of context, but hear the way that I'm saying, we've got to plan to bring children in the world. One of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made in my life is we started having kids without a plan. I'm going to say that again. One of the biggest mistakes, it's probably the largest mistake that I've ever made in my life, is I started having kids without a plan. Now, here's why I say planning is important. You, as a child, cannot have children and be able to lead them and guide them in wisdom that you've not attained. So what happens is children look like their father. The actions of children, their respect, disrespect, all of that comes from the foundation of who that father is and who he is not. So you've got to make sure, men, ladies, don't you find a man who's not a man yet, if he's still growing into maturity, if he does not understand responsibility, if he does not understand he's the foundation, if he does not understand he's the source, do not get in a relationship with a man who is not aware of that, because you get in a relationship with a child and start having children, the children are going to have the mentality of their father, because the body moves, the family moves as the source, the head. And if the head is not mature to handle responsibilities, you're going to produce irresponsible kids, and the family is going to suffer straight across the board. I wish, because I know some of you, because you're in faith, you don't have regrets. That's not my testimony. I have many. One of the biggest regrets I have, if not maybe the biggest, is that I was not a man when I started having children. I was a male becoming a man. Truthfully speaking, I shouldn't have started having kids till I was about 40. Now I'm 29, so you do the math. Shouldn't have had kids, because it was at 40 that I began to balance out and really get a true understanding of what maturity really is. Maturity is not muscles. Being a man has nothing to do with your build, has nothing to do with your physicality. It has nothing to do with your psychology alone. It has nothing to do with your theology. Being a man is being able to process strength, psychology, wisdom, knowledge, and handle understanding. When all these things are working on a balanced scale, that is maturity, that is a man, and that is when a man should become a father. The problem in our generation is you have kids having kids. You have men who don't understand what respect, they don't understand what faithfulness is. We don't even know how to be loyal. And we have these unfaithful men having babies. The unfaithful men are still kids themselves. They've not reached a level of maturity, so they're having children, and they are transferring where they are to the life of that child. That child is going to be rooted in instability, uncertainty, and clouded judgment, because the child comes from the foundation, the root, and the source is its father. And whatever that father is, the kids become. So the proper way to judge this society, if we're going to get understanding of where we are, because we can't get better until we establish where we are. If we're going to understand where we are, we have to begin with understanding the reason this generation is the way that they are. It's because we don't have enough mature fathers. Father is maturity. It is. Father is maturity. We don't have enough maturity in the home. And if there's not maturity, things are bound to fail. So when you look at your children and they're making decisions and you're shaking your head. You're trying to figure out how did you get like this? All you have to do is look at the Father. Say, well, their father wasn't there. Well, look at the Father. If the Father is absent, an absent father cannot instill righteousness in his children. Well, my father was there, but he was still a kid himself. Look at the Father. I'm telling you, the root to all problems in society is linked to fatherhood. It is important. It is of vital importance that we have fathers in the home. When God talks to Abraham, he tells Abraham, I'm going to make you the father of many nations, and the whole world through you are going to be blessed. Listen to this. So Father Abraham is solely responsible for any blessings that are going to happen in the earth, because God made a covenant with Abraham that through him, his seed, God's going to bless the world through the seed of Abraham. The whole world is going to be blessed, not because of his ability to take on spiritual gifts and speak in unknown tongues and give interpretation, not because he's a great writer or author. God says the world is going to be blessed through you because he was a father. This is why it's important if you're single, if you're a single woman, and you have children, you got to get those kids around a father. And I understand because of the evil in our society, we have to be careful where our children spend time. But you need to start now. You need to start now. Listen, even this message, you should have your kids listen to it. You've got to establish order in your home. I don't care what them kids tell you. You're not called to be friends to your kids. You've got to lead them. And leading begins with the voice that they hear. I am the man that I am because of my father, Charles Haynes. He raised me right. It was the words of wisdom that he spoke when I did not want to hear, when I was rebelling. It was those words that took root in my heart. And he kept speaking into my life. He kept giving me the word. I didn't want to hear it. I was ignoring him. But you cannot deny the seed of the word when the word is planted, even if the child is not coherent and it's not their point of focus. The word has seed in it. And when that seed hits the soil of the heart, it's going to grow and surpass the will of the child. What influences the will is what you hear. So God is able to influence the heart of a child by the words that he hears from a father. Now listen to God talk real quick. He says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right, so that your days on the earth may be long and prosperous. In other words, God links the life of a child to the honor of their parents. Honor your mother and father so that your days may be long on the earth. In other words, if you're going to live long, it comes through honoring your father and your mother. You can honor them even if they're not in place, because it's a commandment. God gives commands and he doesn't necessarily give explanations, because this is not a democracy. It's a kingdom, and whatever the kingdom calls, that's what it is. You want your children to be blessed? I don't care about them. Their dad had been a deadbeat. They still have to honor. He didn't say honor your mother and father if they're right, if they're whole, if they have an education. No. He says, honor your mother and father. Those children have to honor their parents. They have to honor their mother and father so that their days on the earth can be blessed and they live a long time. The shortness of life is predicated on the disrespect that they have for their parents. And it's the father's job to make this establishment. So you got to get these kids under the words of a man who's full of wisdom and strength, because it's the word that goes into the soil of the heart that is able to plant a foundation. And it's the word, when it's planted in the soul, that saves the soul, so the soul can grow in righteousness. It's not your opinion that causes where I feel. And what feel? Do we really want to judge things on how we feel? Because your feelings are not your friend. If you want to see these kids do better, they've got to hear better. You've got to make sure that what they hear, it's fruitful. They don't have a choice if they're in your house. Play the word and blast it. Because when the word get in that heart, even when the mind is rebelling, the word will prevail. I told my parents, I told my mama, I ain't preaching. I ain't even going to church when I get grown. So you wasting your time. And let me tell you something. I was the devil's armor bearer growing up. I caused my parents hell. But look at me now. It was the consistency of the word that was being spoken over me and to me that hit, listen to this, it hit the root of my soul and caused me to become what God called. When we say what he say, we can have what he says we can have. The importance of a father is a father gives a child its identity. If you have children that are wandering, trying to find themselves, you got to get them around a father who can speak life and destiny to them. This is really one of the reasons church community is important. Now, it's been abused. It has. It has been abused. You know, it's been driven by ego. But in the lack of physical fathers, we can get surrogate fathers, men that are following after the heart of God, to speak into the lives of these children to better their destiny and their direction. God never called a woman to be a father. There's a reason for that. There's something he put inside of that man that he didn't give that woman. Even when he pulled the woman out of the man, there were some things she did not get, because some things were solely intended for that man, because that man was made in the image of God and that woman was created in the image of a man. Her view and clarity of God didn't come from God. It came from that man. So if her view is shaped by that man, then the child's view is shaped by that woman and that man. So the man has to be whole if he's going to have a whole family. So the problem in our communities is a lack of father. How do we fix it? Well, if a father's not in the home, even if the children doesn't know their father, we've got to find a father around them and get them under him. The answer to our society is in fatherhood. We've got to pray for fathers. We have to plan for fathers. We have to stop another generation from making the mistakes that previous generations have made, including ours, by instructing our children to not have children if those children doesn't have a father. We need to pray for our fathers. If the world is going to run the way that God created it to and have the peace that he commands, it begins with the father. So on today, this Father's Day, make sure you find somebody, hug somebody, give to the Father. Let me give you one of the biggest misconception of men is that a man does not have emotions. What? The reason that woman has emotion is because she get it from the man. She came out of him. What do you mean men don't have emotion? Now, men don't show emotions, but we do have them. Don't rob your father of gifts. He needs them. When you give to your father, you are complimenting your root. Be creative. Love him. He needs it. Because men carry much, and generally we don't say much. It doesn't mean we don't feel much. Find a father. Bless him. I know you say your daddy don't need it. Bless him anyway. Let me tell you what makes a man smile. Money. Let me tell you why. Not because he loves money. No, it ain't that. Money is the root. And if there's one thing that a man can identify with more than anything else, he can identify with the root, because that's what he is. See, when you give a man what he is, he's able to do with what he has the way that he wants. Money is the root. It's not good or evil. Money is a root. It's a commodity. You can use it to buy. You can use it to invest. You can use it to get away. There's so many different things. Men, we really don't like all these ties and screwdrivers and all. We can get that stuff for ourselves. But when you plan and give us a root, look what we've done with roots. We've built homes and buildings with roots. We've built desks and chairs and furniture with root. The root of the tree is that couch that you're sitting on. Give a man something he can identify with, and he'll build something that'll blow your mind. Make sure you hug a father today. Make sure you give to a father today. Make sure you do something different for a father. It doesn't have to be your biological father. If they've spoken in your life, giving you direction and help connect you to your destiny, there's fatherhood in them for your life. Bless them today. And then every week, bless them. It's not just right to do on Father's Day. It needs to be done every day. This is Encounter. Thank you for joining us. And all of you get understanding. If you would like to tithe, give, or support the work of ministry on this side, you can cash app Encounter Church 8, $ Encounter Church 8. And we appreciate your gift as well as your support. Make sure you go love somebody today. Love on a father today. Hug a father. Kiss him on the jaw. Give him a Visa gift card. Do something sweet. Send him cash app. Do something nice. Don't let this moment pass you by because you think, well, they don't need nothing. Well, I don't want to insult them. Well, all I have is $5. Give them what you have, because heart is attached to the gift. The heart can be felt, and it makes the gift big. Y'all have a great day, and all you're getting, get understanding.